Hey, this is Mitch with FinePoint CGI, and today we're going to talk about doing a pause menu. So what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and pause the game. It's going to pop up a screen that allows you to continue and resume the game. It'll allow you to quit the game, and we will also link it to a settings screen when we go build that, probably in the next tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I'm sitting here in Godot, and the first thing that we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to talk about input mapping. Now, input mapping is very important. Now, I know we really haven't covered this at all because we didn't build our own first-person controller. We just used a pre-made one for us. So you guys never got the experience of what it takes to actually build out inputs. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to project, and we're going to go to project settings, and then we're going to look for, you'll probably see this, which is our general tab, and here you can actually go and change out your name. You can change out the description, icons, things like that, and there's a lot of options in here that you guys can run through, but for the most part, just worry about like the first couple and you should be okay. Like what it runs, you know, the image boot splashing, stuff like that, audio settings and editor settings, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the input map. And here you can see that there's various different things that you can do here. There's like enter to accept UI. There's KP enter, space, device buttons, UI select buttons, UI cancel, UI focus. And it looks like we already have it put right here as UI cancel. See that? So what we're trying to do is what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just make one. So what we'll do is we'll call it pause. We will add that. What we'll do is we will also plus key, and we will press the escape key. So what is that going to do? Well, that's going to say anytime we have pause as our input value, which would be anytime we hit the escape key, the pause input value or the pause input event will fire. Okay. And that will allow us to execute some code. So how does that work? Well, let me show you. So if we go ahead and close this and we right click on the spatial node, we add a child node and we add a pop-up because we want to create a pop-up for the user to see when they're doing their pausing. So what we'll do is we'll add a child node and we will add a VBox container, and underneath that we will go and add two buttons. So we will duplicate that button. I'm going to go ahead and name this resume, and I'm going to go ahead and name this quit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click on resume. We're going to make the text resume. And when I click on quit, I'm going to do the same, make it quit. And then I'm going to go ahead and just for stylistic flair, I'm going to add a canvas, a panel. So I'm going to go ahead and add a panel. So click on that. We're going to bring that up so it goes underneath. So the way that Godot operates, so you guys know, is if you drag VBox container above it, you can see that the panel gets rendered because whatever's the lowest thing on the list will get rendered first. So, well, rendered last technically, but it gets drawn on top of everything else. So if we put this above there, you'll see that it falls behind. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and full rect that, and we're going to do the same thing for the VBox container. We're going to full rect that, and then we're going to go ahead and grab this pop-up, scale it up to be, I don't know, about that big, let's say, and we're going to go ahead and center this. There we go. Beautiful. So now what we can do, and I like it. It's fine. Okay, so what we'll do is we will go ahead and click on this VBox container. We're going to make sure that this goes to center. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go do some fun stuff. So we're going to right click, attach a script, and call this pause menu. Hit enter. First, we're going to talk about implicit functions. So there are a couple of implicit functions built inside of Godot. So if I do for instance, func space underscore, you'll be able to see a bunch of different functions and properties here. So you'll be able to see all these different things that you can do here. And what we want is input event. So you can see right here, input event. If I double click that, it'll add that in. If input dot pressed is action just pressed, pause, then I want to create a variable called isPaused. And that's going to be equal to get underscore tree. If you remember, that's how we stopped our game and how we have done everything with Godot. And get tree is basically Godot. So get tree dot paused. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and the identifier get tree isn't declared in the current scope. Why not? Okay, so I figured out my issue. So what you need to do is you need to get underscore tree. And you need to make sure that you have these open and close parentheses here because it's a function. And I, for some reason, or it's an object. And I didn't think about it until now. So go ahead and hit that. Dot paused. All right, and that's going to tell us if it's paused. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if is paused, then I want you to get underscore tree dot paused is equal to false, else I want that to be true. So get underscore tree dot paused is equal to true. So let me put that back some. All right. Now what this is going to do. So what this is going to do is if I go ahead and refresh this, when I hit escape, you'll notice that the whole game freezes. Now you really can't tell, but I am clicking my mouse. You can see the little thing moving and there's nothing going on. If I let go, it does nothing. See that? So why is it nothing? Why did it seem like it didn't work, right? Well, the reason why that is when you run a get tree paused, what happens is it immediately stops execution of everything. Everything in the project is dead. Everything in the project is dead. It's done. But the fine creators of Godot created a really cool functionality that allows you to omit objects from pausing when you pause the tree. So what you can do is you can come over here and you can go to the pause section on the nodes. You see how there's a node, editor, description, pause. You see that there's inherit, stop, and process. So inherit, it'll inherit its pause status from whatever's above it. So if spatial's pause status was stop, then it would be stopped. If it's process, then it would be process. In this case, we only want this one to be processed. So let's go ahead and click on process here. So now when we hit play and we hit the escape key, it pauses. We let go of the escape key. You can see it pause, let go. There you go. So that's how you create a very basic pause. Simple enough, right? So now we need to make this panel pop up when you hit the pause button. So let's go ahead and go back to our pop-up and we will go ahead and, I didn't mean to delete that. We will go ahead and hit $. Or I should say, actually this is the object. So we can just do visible. And then here we will do, oh wait, this is the opposite. I'm flipping them. So let me do that and then false. So now if I run this and I hit escape, you'll see there it is. I let go. There you go. So if I hit it once, pause, hit it once again, stop. Or play, I should say. Now, what we need to do is we need to allow the resume button and the quit button to be usable. So let's go ahead and click on that. We will come over here. We're going to go to our node and we're going to say on button up. go ahead and tell the pop-up panel on resume button up, I want you to go ahead and tell the tree to start. So what we're going to do is we're going to say get underscore tree dot pause is equal to false. And I want it to hide this object. So visible is equal to false. So what that's going to do is it's going to hide this pop-up panel. And then I also want to set up my quit. So let's go ahead and do that. So on button up, let's go to the pop-up panel. And we're going to say get underscore tree dot paused is equal to false. And then we're going to do exactly what we did last time. So we're going to go get underscore tree dot set oh no, I forgot what it was. Change scene. That's what it was. All right. Dot change scene. And then we're going to go ahead and change the scene. And we have a lot of scenes. You can see this. This is why I was saying that organization is very important, because look at how complicated this gets really fast. So main screen. So now when I hit the resume button, it will allow you to continue playing the game. And when I hit quit, I need to tell it to continue playing the game and automatically load the next scene. Now, the reason why you want to do this is because if you don't do this, then the game won't actually load the next scene fully, because the working tree still is paused, if that makes sense. When you call pause, you pause the entire game, everything, including loading. So it's just something to keep in mind. Now, if I go ahead and I hit play, and then I immediately pause, you'll notice, well, it worked, but my mouse is being kind of funky, right? Look at it, it's getting all caught and stuff, right? Well, the reason why that is because we are using a player controller from somebody else. So if we go open up their player controller, you'll see that they have the section here where it says inputs.set mouse mode, input.mouse mode captured. So let's go ahead and copy that because it's important for you guys to understand that this is important, right? If you're doing a first-person player, you want to make sure that your mouse mode is set to captured, right? So that way you don't have a mouse running around on your screen while you're playing, right? Well, when you are pausing the game, you don't want that, right? You want the mouse to be visible, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, if it's paused, visible is false, and all of that, and we're going to set that there. And then we're going to go ahead and do it here where we go input dot set mouse mode to visible. And what that's going to do is it's going to force your mouse to be visible and usable. Now, let's go ahead and click play, and you will see that when I hit escape, my mouse suddenly comes back. I can click resume, or I can click quit, and it'll take me out of that game. See? Simple enough, right? But now, here's something that I want to discuss real quick about software development in general. We have this principle called dry. Don't repeat yourself. Now you can see here, we have a lot of code that is very repetitive. It's extremely repetitive. So let's not do that. Let's not make our code repetitive. You know, you have all this stuff here, and then you have this, and it's kind of a mess. So let's not do that, and let's create a new function. So let's go function, pause game. Okay. And I'll do it with a lowercase p. And since I did it with an O instead of a P, pause game underscore, just to kind of follow sort of what they're doing here. And then we will go ahead and copy all of this code here. We'll paste it over here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull all of this code out. And we're going to say pause underscore game like this. And what that's going to do is is it's going to call this like this. It's going to go ahead and call this, and we'll need an open and close brace here, or open and close parentheses. So now the question is, why in the world did we do that, right? Why is that at all necessary? Well, the reason why this is necessary is it's all about trying to make everything cleaner, right? We want our code to not repeat itself. This is easier to maintain if, for instance, we wanted to change how our resume button and how our pause button worked. It just makes life a lot easier. So if we go ahead and hit play, what you'll notice is functionality. Oh. Oh. Well, functionally it was supposed to be the same, but it's not. And the reason why is because I made a mistake and I got rid of our if input dot pressed is action just pressed pause. I got rid of that by accident. That was my fault. I was wondering why everything was freaking out. But if I go ahead and tab that out, actually, I don't think this is going to work either. Yeah, so you see, when we refactored our code, we need to hit escape for it to actually do what we want. So you see how that's not working. So what we need to do is we actually need to refactor this a little bit more, because originally our plan was to refactor it to make it easier, right? Well, we're going to make it easier. So what we'll do is we'll do unpause, and then unpause like this, and then unpause. And then what we're going to do is we're going to refactor this a little bit to pull all this back out. Put that in here. Then we're going to pull this out, and then we're going to do unpause here like that. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take all of this code here. Okay. We're going to drag, we're going to get all this code here. We're going to get rid of it. We're going to put it down here, paste it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to call that like that. And that should do it. Let's find out real quick. And there we go. So now we're not calling it twice. We're just calling it the one time. Or we're not having it in two separate places. We have it in one place. Now, we can further refine this. And I guess this is a good time as any to discuss programming, I guess, theory, right? And having a conversation about how to make your code efficient. Well, if we just do pause game like we had, right? So let's just rename this all the pause game. And we say, okay, I want to take in a variable, and let's just call it paused. Okay. And then let's go ahead and tell this to be paused, and then if paused, mouse mode would be visible, right? So let's go grab this. Then let's do this, let's do that, and then else we're going to mouse mode captured. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pass in false, and then up here we're going to say pause underscore game is true. Now, why is this better? It's better because it's more compact code, and it's easier to read, and it's easier to manage. You can look at this and understand, okay, I'm going to pause the game or I'm not going to pause the game. And then in here, I don't have two separate functions that completely handle my pausing. I just have this, and that's it. So it's more efficient and it's more compact code. And a lot of times that's what you want. So let's go ahead and play, pause it, unpause it, click resume, and you will see that everything works the way that I say. Thank you guys for hanging out with me while I show you guys this, and I talked about basically the importance of all of this, the importance of making sure that your code is refactored and efficient. Don't repeat yourself. I showed you guys how to create a pause menu, how to pause Godot, some of the caveats with pausing the project, and I talked to you guys about how input mouse modes work. And again, I'll make another tutorial on how to create an input first-person controller, and then we can go from there. And yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, just throw them in the comment section below, and hit a like or dislike if you like or dislike this video. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.